Welcome back to another episode of Enigmatica 2 Expert on the server that we started a couple of weeks ago, actually. It's already been that long. Well, this is going to be a normal video, but when I built the mob farm, it went a little bit haywire, so it's not going to be quite so normal towards the end. First of all, I'd like to do the normal just kind of tour of what's happened since I last made a video. Which hasn't been much. I'm just mining some lithium, some magnesium, boron, and thorium. I think those are the four materials over there, because we're needing them for a power upgrade. Now, this oil infrastructure here that we have, it's really good. It generates quite a lot of power. I think there's like 32,000 power here, which is enough to max out all of the wires here and can technically, I think, push them to be melting. Well, it's been having some issues. We just usually can't get enough oil out of the thing, out of the ground here, and there's constant backup issues. If I try to use more than one of these portable generators, this gasoline goes away, and then I just got yeeted. If I try to use two portable generators, then it drains this tank over here full of crude oil, which means that it's being really, really inefficient with the gasoline, because I know that for a fact that these portable generators are producing nowhere near the amount of power as these things, both per tick and per unit of gasoline. Oh. Well, because of the new developments that we've been working on, we are, of course, not actually generating enough power. There's like a couple of these that are... Actually, I think it's just this one that's full for some reason. But these are basically being pushed to their absolute maximum that they will go. Except apparently a couple of them. A couple of them I think are a little bit weird. But in order to achieve this, I literally had to turn off the power to our workshop over here. The workshop, this consumes a lot of power, mostly because of this guy, this matter fabricator, which I don't think any of us know what we're going to do with this UU matter here. I don't know if there's anything we can do with it at the moment. It's completely useless, especially in such a small amount. There's nothing you can really do with it. And then there's this, which I used to charge up this, which I got this from the mob farm. I'm actually recording this in the after I built the mob farm, just because I wasn't recording when all of the fun stuff went down. I thought it was, oh, this is going to be boring. So... But then it wasn't boring, and some interesting things happened. Well, it's basically... this thing is just consuming all of the power in the world. So I've actually... there's a switch here that controls that thing up there wirelessly. There's a switch here that controls the power to this place. And I've turned it off because in this other building just right next to it, we're producing a crap ton of thankful dinners, which I've got in my inventory right now. They're top-tier food, and they're being produced completely automatically, and now we've got 2,500 of these things, and it's just plain ridiculous. Well, when I was doing some inspections of this, I did not build this was Waffle. When I went and did some inspections of the system, just to see if everything was working correctly, I'm not the designer of the system, but I have enough engineering knowledge that I'm pretty sure I could figure it out. So I went through here, and I started inspecting all of these crafters and stuff. This thing's full. Most things are looking pretty okay. Apparently, why does that need Tofig? Some of these things are confusing. Well, it's not here that the problem really resides. It's actually one floor lower. So when I came down here, I observed that some of these machines aren't getting power, and I'm not entirely sure why. So when I sat in this is requiring charcoal. When I went and I began to inspect all of this, I was finding that this system was having some issues. It's this. Some of these machines, for whatever reason, don't have any power. And if machines don't have power, they're not producing things. If they're not producing things, machine doesn't work. I'm not actually sure what's going on here. I don't know if there's like a switch somewhere. I don't think there is. Maybe this is the culprit right here. It's just because there's only two connectors for this entire thing. I don't know. I'm going to be honest that Waffle, he's not very good in remembering that these connectors are not infinite power transfer. You need to have a lot of connectors to do a little bit of work. Maybe I'll just try that in a second. Some of these are running, some of them aren't. So we're just it's having some issues by the looks of it. Up here, everything looks okay. It looks like everything is just running off of storage or something. This seems to be having some issues though. Like the toast just keeps dropping over time. So maybe that's having some problems. I mean, we're cranking out a lot of thankful dinners, and this will last a really long time. Like one of these will max out all of your hunger. So I don't know. Maybe it's fine. I mean, at the same time, and it's I don't know. Also, he's he's not put any output on this. Like it's got the redstone upgrade in it to show how much storage is in it, but there's oh wait, this thing's almost full. Wow. Um, this thing it's not telling the rest of the machines to stop working. When this thing fills up, that's kind of the end of it. But yeah, there's just some power issues going on. This thing was left on its own for a while, so maybe all the machines filled up with power, I don't know, and then they started operating again, because when I left, this was having some problems. This wasn't even showing up. The toast was having some problems. I think the limitation is salt. I know that there's a salt storage over here now somewhere. It's right here, but that's going to something else. The butter, I think, is supposed to be produced downstairs, but it's not. So I think this is it right here, actually. There's supposed to be butter there, but there's no salt incoming. Like, this is the salt drawer right here. It's empty. So it doesn't look too healthy. And that's the same thing happening with the dough here. So the toast is being limited by how much salt can be produced. And if we actually go down here, I think it's actually, yeah, it's putting out salt, but it's, I think, far too slow for what the system's demanding of it. Because this one autocrafter is supporting everything up there that requires salt. That's like the mashed potatoes that requires it, the butter that requires it, the dough that requires it. So it's just simply not enough. This thing definitely putting out enough water. Like it seems to be keeping up with the maximum rate that this server will actually operate. I'm sure it could be made faster, but at the same time, this is just a normal infinite water source, so it would probably explode if we tried to do that. Anyway, so let's leave this. This machine has kind of done its job already. If only this was a big multiplayer server with economy. We could just sell thankful dinners to the rest of the players if there was a server like that, and we just get super rich. But at this current moment, it's just we've got like 4 people in the server. There's not a lot. So, 3,000 thankful dinners. I think this thing will fill up to be 4,100. That's a lot of thankful dinners. That will supply everybody for a really long time. Like these are one of the best food sources in the game. I think it is pretty much the best. I think that's why it was chosen, just because of the cheapness of making it and the buffing as well that gives you. So I guess that's kind of it for that little bit. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to show. Oh, yep, old mob farm. That's obsolete. I built a new one. This is the one in the thumbnail on the left. So this one's slow. It's produced enough. I think we're gonna take that down pretty soon because it is so redundant. Like you don't even know. You'll just have to watch and see what happens. So I think without further ado, I might as well just get on over to the big mob farm and kind of show what's been going down over there, and then it's story time as well. I'll just explain what happened over there. So I'll see you in a second. Oh yeah, power. Need that power back for a second. There we go. Now just shut it down again. Ow. Okay. The jetpack is in this thing. It's kind of hard to control, to be honest. Alright, I'll see you in a sec. I'll be right over there. The Almighty Box of Production, as it's called. Alright, well, welcome to the Almighty Box of Production. The thumbnail photo might have been a little bit deceiving, or I decided to just actually show the mob farm, but kind of depends on how I decided to do the thumbnail at the time I decided to do it. Well, it's just a cobblestone box. So it's actually nothing too special. Inside this farm, and maybe I can open it up without immediately dying. Inside this farm, there is a bunch of vector plates, and you can see all the particles. This is Cursed Earth. Hop on the ladder here for a sec. Now, Cursed Earth. Hopefully I can be heard over all those mobs. Wow. Cursed Earth spawns mobs at an accelerated rate. And then it's these vector plates, for some reason mobs can spawn on them, because apparently that's balanced. What's that creeper doing? So the things you see when you look into a machine like this, well, these things push them off to the edge. Now, they don't fall to their death. No, no, no. That would get complicated with item collection. Okay, I've got to get away from this. It's really loud. That would be a nightmare of item collection. So, inside of here, there's actually a pool of water on the bottom. And on above that, and maybe I can, again, get in there without immediately dying. I don't dare open up the wall here. Ow. This will be fine. Now, you can see all of the things happening if I look inside this hole here. There's this little purple bit of water here. Now, oh my gosh. Oh, I don't have a block. Hold on, let me patch that back up. So, basically, that purple water is a little something called witch water. And the witch water, it converts any mob that touches it into the stronger form of itself. So, it'll turn a creeper into a charged creeper, it'll turn a spider into a cave spider. I don't think zombies are affected in any way. Maybe they turn into zombie villagers, I don't know. And most interestingly, skeletons turn into wither skeletons. And if you've played enough normal Minecraft before, you know that wither skeletons drop some very useful stuff. Like, of course, wither skulls, like we have stored over there. And coal, which for some reason doesn't drop in this mod pack, which kind of sucks. Well, because they fall into that witch water, when they die, they're a special mob form, which does include the wither skeleton, and they're all killed by these things right here, these machines, which are powered by all of the fun stuff over here, including that nuclear bit. Inside of here, now, these things, they reach through the wall, they kill all of the mobs that are on the other side of the wall, and they pump out essence, which is basically liquefied experience, and all of our tanks are full, as you can probably see, which means that there's also experience orbs down underneath, but that's besides the point. And then that gets pumped into these tanks, and then I know that we can produce all kinds of fun stuff, like blaze powder with this stuff, and yeah, that's pretty much it, blaze powder. There's not really anything else that you can do that's really interesting with it. Well, anyway, so it's story time. So when I went to go and build this started off as just kind of any other project in Minecraft. You would go and gather the materials. Now, the materials for this, you know, they're fairly expensive, not terribly expensive. A lot of the things in this are actually really cheap. It's made of cobblestone, for crying out loud. And cobblestone is definitely pretty much the cheapest thing in Minecraft. Cheaper than dirt, I would argue, even though that dirt is used a lot in a lot of other videos for being, oh, it's the cheapest item in Minecraft. Oh, dirt for diamonds, what a good deal. Well, cobblestone can be achieved with the generator, which means that you can generate cobblestone infinitely. Well, anyway, so, you know, went and gathered all those materials, and I came to this little site here and put it over an ocean. So then, when we build the thing, all of the mob spawns could be concentrated inside by putting the player up as high as possible. And with the nature of this mob farm, with the killing floor being so close to the spawning floors, it could be compacted into the lowest subchunks possible. And this is, of course, just technical Minecrafter words. It's basically saying that because it's lower, it gets much better spawning attempts. It gets much better spawns from a smaller number of spawning spaces. Now, this mob farm, it has 10 layers of cursed earth, which is dirt. It has a drop of evil applied onto it, which are produced here. Those 10 spawning floors are 13 by 13 each. And they push into a 4-block wide, 13-block long killing platform on either side with those vector plates there. Well, anyway, so I came out over here, and I built this thing up, and then I decided that this little lever here, and it was on before, like this. The powered lanterns, these stop mob spawns on a regular day. I'm gonna keep it running because I like to see profits. So, I mean, just Just look at the fountain of items coming out of this thing. Like, don't look at this thing and say, you can't look at this thing and not say, wow, that's a lot of items. The fountain of items, that was actually Fat Cat that said that. Yeah, that's his. So, as I was saying, so I switched the thing on once I had finished, and we didn't have the cursed earth in there yet, so because we didn't have any drop of evil when he started, and everything was normal. I didn't catch any footage of me starting the thing. It was actually really normal. Uh, just I switched it on, mobs started flowing. Not quite as fast as they are now, but they were flowing. And there was a small fountain of items. There's a little bit of a stream of items, and these were actually silos before. Fat Cat was nice enough to replace these instead with drawers because they're a lot cleaner looking, a lot smaller, a lot easier to deal with. So we ended up making them out of drawers instead. These used to be silos, but I changed them to tanks because, I mean, look at this. All of these tanks are filled. These, I think, got all filled up, or a few of them got filled up right before I went and applied Drop of Evil. Anyway, so this thing was running for a couple of minutes while I was building a couple things over here. I was just trying to get all of the items so I could get them into the sorting system and make everything happy. Well, while I was doing that, in the Drop of Evil's drawer over here, now you can see that there's 4,500 in there now. But before, there was only 11 of these. Now, these are happening really slowly. It's normal Minecraft mob spawns. There's not a whole lot of skeletons spawning in relation to what's happening now, anyway. There's plenty of skeletons, but there'd be more than you'd normally deal with on your average Minecraft day, but still. It's because those Drop of Evils, they're a rare drop from the Wither Skeletons. I don't know how, it's like maybe 1% that they drop. Anyway, so I happened to see that there were 11 Drop of Evils in there, so I took 10 out, one for each spawning floor, and I just ran all the way over here. I came over here, and I left all of these little ports open. You can see that there's a little hole here. And all of the spawning floors I intentionally built out of dirt so that I could do this later, and it would turn all of the dirt into cursed earth right underneath the vector plates. Well, I did that, and the drops started flowing. Now, everything was fine, but something was a little off. Both Fat Cat and I were here at the time, and we were just constantly laughing about how many items were coming across this thing. There's still an absurd number of items. I mean, look at this. Who on earth needs 61,000 rotten flesh? Nobody needs 61,000 rotten flesh. Well, we were noticing something was going wrong. The server was struggling. He's running the server on his PC at the same time. He's got like 24 cores. It's ridiculous. Oh, hold on. Let me deal with this. Let me deal with this guy. You can see that he's cursed earth, so he's also a little bit stronger than normal. Gosh. Man, he's so fast. Thank goodness quantum suit body armor. I love that stuff. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, so we were laughing at this. We couldn't help but notice that our frame rate was dropping. Now, right now, I'm getting, by the looks of it, about 50 to 60 FPS most of the time. Occasionally, it drops down to 40 if I look directly at this. That's just because there's a lot of entities, especially the items. The items definitely do not help with this. Well, we were noticing an FPS drop. And what ended up happening is that I came over here to these things. I looked inside, and I didn't catch any footage of me doing it, of course, because I'm me. And it's a little bit like this one, but worse. Every single slot was filled up. None of this existed yet. It was just a bunch of hoppers leading onto this. I thought it would be enough. But no, it was not. Anyway, I switched on the emergency collection system, and now bear in mind all of these clips that I'm playing here. These actually are stage clips, but this is about what happened. I switched the collection system, the auxiliary collection system on. This thing immediately filled up. When it immediately filled up, we knew where the lag was coming from. There were potentially thousands of items in the bottom of the mob farm. Now, when these mob crushers are full of something, they stop collecting that thing. So if it's full of essence, it starts dropping all of the experience on the ground. If they're full of items, all of the items drop where the mobs died. They don't stop producing if their inventories are full. Well, we were having some issues. I immediately tried to shut the mob farm down with this lantern here. But as you can see in the clip, and you can see what I'm about to do here, if I try to do that, absolutely nothing happens. As it turns out, when I designed this mob farm, I did not account for the fact that Cursed Earth ignores mob spawning rules. These powered lanterns are supposed to stop mob spawning within a 32 block radius, but the Cursed Earth overrides anything that acts like that. So the mob drops just kept on coming. There was no stopping them. We actually had to cheat to prevent the mob spawning or the mob farm from crashing the game. We had to run a command. I'll just land and show you. We had to run a command /kill all entities type equals item like that, and then clear all of the items on the conveyor belts and clear all of the items inside the machine. Now, it didn't tell us how many there were in there, but immediately our frames jumped from what was 20 at the time back all the way up to 60. So we knew something was wrong. Now, if you are able to observe, if you're good at observing, and you know that I have 26 of those and one of these, you'll know that there are 27 hoppers. Each hopper can transfer 9,000 items per hour. 27 hoppers times 9,000 items per hour, that's 243 items per hour, and the collection system was overwhelmed and bottlenecked, which means that it was producing more than 243,000 items per hour. For comparison, there's a mob farm that I really like by a YouTuber named Nembon. It produces, at least as advertised, 17,000 drops per hour, and that is a fast mob farm. This thing is producing, I don't know, perhaps 500,000 items per hour? I actually don't know. We have no idea how fast this thing's moving. Anyways, we tried to shut it down, but we couldn't. And unfortunately, at that time, I had to go to work, and I didn't have any time to record anything. Well, thankfully, he found a solution. I told him to make 22 of these, but honestly, that wouldn't have worked terribly well. Instead, he was actually smart. He brought in these item ducts and these signalum servos right here. There we go. And basically what ended up happening is that by adding those and onto that thing and a couple of these over here, and I think there's more over here as well. There's like way more. Okay, there's about an equal number. By adding all of these, he was able to basically these things remove entire stacks of items at once. So even though this thing is going nuts, it's able to keep up with all of the item collection going on inside. Well, he started dumping those in the conveyor belts. He replaced all of the collection. Everything was fine after that. But not after the thing crashed the server. It apparently did crash the server. We don't know how it crashed the server, but it did. And that's kind of all we know. It crashed the server somehow. As you can see by this Discord message here. Well, when he came back a couple of hours later, he noticed that we had a lot of wither skeleton skulls. Now, at the time, I don't remember exactly how many. I'm going to check that real quick. At the time, he said that we have 3 stacks of wither skulls. That's a lot of wither skulls. That's a stack of nether stars. Nether stars make beacons. Nether stars are really useful. Well, now we have 1,230 wither skeleton skulls. That's about 19 stacks of wither skeleton skulls. I mean, who has that? This is completely autonomous. No vanilla Minecraft farm could actually do this. It's not a player-based killing where they have to swipe a sword. This runs entirely autonomously, and here's the stupid part. It can be faster. If we just add a bunch of fortune add-ons to these machines, replace the slow vector plates with extreme vector plates, then we will have the fastest mob farm ever built. Let me know if you want to see that. Well, I suppose that's all I suppose that's all I have to report for you today. A failed engineering attempt at trying to stop mob spawning, and a mob farm that can't be shut down and can crash the server. So, leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you want to see more of this content, and I'll see you next time. I mean, just look at this. 62,000 gunpowder. 123,000 of something that's basically useless. Somebody let me know in the comments what we can do with this. And there's even these things. Thinlit parcels. I'm not actually sure what they do. Anyway,